Okay. So I think one of the things that a lot of people struggle with, especially at the start of a rally, is being able to like not only identify what's strong, but identify how you're supposed to trade it differently, opposed to a full-on bull run. And it's really just a decision-making problem and just understanding what it is about leaders at the start of a rally and understanding how they move. Um, these are my points to go over, how to identify them, just so I remember to cover everything I wanted to. Um, I think identifying them should be probably the easier half if you're splitting it between like stock selection and then actual entry. Because it's usually just what goes up with the market, right? Or what goes up without the market a lot of the times. And it's just as simple as when you flick through these, just quickly flick through them, you can just see what's been going up, right? And you'll start broad with a list. You have a flag list of 80 names, and you flick through them, and you're watching them all. And then maybe you have a focus list of 20-ish names, or less. It doesn't really matter. It's what are you looking at that is just leading, right? And for me, identifying a leader once again is just a comparison thing. It's you don't have to look at the chart and like, you know, try your absolute hardest to figure out, whether or not this is a leader. Like you don't have to look at the chart to figure out what the leader is. You have to look at your lists. Just look at what's strong. It's that easy. Seriously. Look at the volume. Look at what gets volume when it breaks out. And then you can also compare it to the indexes. So QQQ, April 30th, most recent bottom or low. We'll find out. And you can just flick through. Okay, on this day, what was PL doing? On this day, what was light doing? So everything's kind of taking a shit, right? Um, yeah. So look at all our leaders. They're falling down on the bottom day. Um, I mean, really, any of these they all did the same thing. Some guys I follow on Twitter that took some longs on that day, and it's not my type of stuff. But and look at the market since then. What's happened? It's a pretty vertical move. Time will tell if it holds, but I mean, feels pretty similar. Just look at what is going up with the market, right? You want stuff that is leading the market like this, or stuff that is, you know, right behind leading the market. Look at how these are all breaking out together. Look at this. I mean, that's what you want to see for sure. Think about what happens when we get theme sync on, and there, I wouldn't say there's many for sure themes. I think space is good. Semi equipment is pretty fucking good too. Um, but shit that goes up together stays together. I mean, any of these names really, you can look at any of them. Better pull up some examples to back that up. But I mean, space did it. Bought lunar here. Um, it's the exact same type of trade. This would be a great example to use, I guess, on one of my later points. But what is on 12/19? What is happening? It's the first shit to start ripping out of the recovery. It's the same. It's the same philosophy behind this move. And what is moving and leading the market? Look at all these stocks. They're pretty much straight up, right? Right? A couple exceptions. But look at this. Like, once again, a couple exceptions. And the exceptions are still strong as fuck. This one's a little choppy now, but we'll see how it cleans up. I mean, like I'll go through the look at these. These are just straight the fuck up and they're moving together and they're moving with the market and they're leading the market. Look at the volume on all these. You know, once again, some exceptions, but like look. I mean, it's so obvious what it's so obvious what when you're looking at an index, it doesn't even matter which one you use. You can use whatever you want. Literally anything. Doesn't fucking matter. The direction matters. Like most of these are just, they're on my flag for a reason. I'll watch them, but like low vol, it's choppy, it's still in the range. Is it explosive? Yeah. Could it do something? Yeah. But like once again, I want them all to move together. Like anything, like this, you can't like. I think this is a, I don't know. I think trying this today, I didn't look at this for today, but like why are we? I don't know. Like look at this. This is just like turns me off, bro. Like look at this compared to fucking this or this. It's so apparent. Like there's nothing wrong with like something like this. It's a fine stock. Is it going to be in play in 2 months? Probably. This is a period of time where you have to be very, very. It's not about being selective. It's about being intentional with how you're building your watch list, I think. You want the shit that's in time with the market. You want the shit that's going up. You want the shit that's leading the market. Is B a good stock? Yes. Is it great on the weekly? Yes. Is it probably going to 250 bucks by the summer? Probably. But like, dude, it's just not even it's not speaking the same language as the rest of these ones, right? Look through this list and like they're all on like the same wavelength. That's what you want to have on your watch list. Your watch list is a reflection of your system. How you organize it is a reflection of how you organize your system and organize your mind. If you have intention and process in your watch lists, it affects your trading so much more than people think. And that's why I have all of these grouped together because they're moving together and there is no competing opinions in my mind when I go through my focus list. Everything is going up, everything is moving together. Has this been a really shitty market to trade since October? Yeah. We had a good stretch towards the end of the summer into October, but it's been a pretty crappy market. I think most people agree with that. I think people also would agree with the fact that there have been some ridiculously historic moves. Gold, silver, memory complex. I mean, just some of these names are unbelievable, right? Space had a nice move, nothing near the degree of what we saw in the other leaders, but we had a PB short on UAMY. We had a PB short on, I don't even know if we had one on SanDisk. I mean, I wouldn't really count that, but like, I think this is really the only one that needs to, like, holy shit. But there's been so much strength recently, and I think the natural and correct tendency of traders, especially swing traders, to keep a broad net or a broad eye on the market. I think it's helpful for, most markets. I think that's how you should do it. Um, to fully understand, right, like what is going on. What is the whole market doing? When it's shitty, your job is to sit back and observe. I mean, everyone says it. Everyone knows it too. Not everyone does it. Sit back and observe. Stop worrying about making money when things are when your equity curve is going down. Stop trading. Stop worrying about making money. Just watch and let shit talk to you. I think the problem with this last 8 months is that like how are you supposed to trade how are you supposed to trade like these types of moves with full conviction and full size? Is it super strong? Yes, but I think most traders, once again, correctly, have the tendency to compare to the whole market and just be more reserved. Oh, Jesus, more reserved when conditions aren't optimal. And once again, correct for the third time because I did it too, and I think it's the right thing to do in most markets. And we have not seen most markets, I think, for the last year, and I mean since this shit. But like, think about how similar this whole period was. It's just like now. It's exactly the same, right? Like this whole period sucked so bad because we really never got, except for a short period, we really never got to fully size and fully convict on our trades, right? Like it's just so mentally, like it's not been an enjoyable mental experience. I think a lot of people are up if you were attentive and were trading through September. I think that month alone, at least for me and my understanding and people I know, was pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's a whole year of gains in like a month and a half or two months. But the whole 5 month period before that felt the exact same. It's like this feels it look like it looks like it should be better, but it looks like it looks like it doesn't look like a full risk on market really. And once again, I think that just blinds people to shit like this. I mean, I bought both of these. Is it a little bit of a hindsight thing? For sure. But like, I just wish I would have sized in these. And I mean, it's easy to catch the moves. I've been able to buy all the great trades, and for the most part, stay out of the shitty trades. But it's so hard to get a full size position and fully convict yourself, and like take your hands off the wheel and understand that like it will benefit you. It's just sketchy for most people, especially who have like built a swing trading system around risk management and asset protection, which they should be doing. So it's a natural thing, but it's just such like a psychology test of how you think, kind of. But anyways, it's a little bit of yapping about that. But like the point is if I only had gold and silver names at the start of the year in my focus list and I only had memory names, I'd probably be up a lot more because I would be trading with conviction if I wasn't looking around the market. It feels the same way now. Put your blinders on, people. Look at the strength we have. Trade goals and oh my god, I didn't even get to this shit. 13 minutes. It's not that bad. So here's how you trade them. I think the leaders express themselves very differently. Oftentimes, I don't think they have very clean setups. I think they have a tendency to be more volatile, maybe, or at least less obvious to size into. So, like I bought light this day, and then got stopped out this day, and then not buying that, and I just haven't had an opportunity to get into it. But one thing that I've personally noticed, I haven't back tested this. This is just my opinion on the way I do things. Um, I look at gaps in these ranges. I think when I started trading, I really didn't like care too much about a gap. I was like, if it takes the previous day high, if it gaps, whatever, just mark it as entry day, see how it does, put it in the database. But dude, gaps are so nice. Like gaps are so nice. Think about how often on gaps or on leaders you see gaps out of shitty setups that just look like a anything other than a long entry. I bought XTI this day. But this just looks like well, this one's probably not a good example. It had earnings. Like it was a reason to buy, but let me see if I have I'm sure like most of these will. Like this type of day, man. Like I passed on this. I just wasn't trading in February. I was watching it. This was a really good setup. Same setup that, what's the other one? GSAT had. Just a little stomp down after the gap up out of the range. Happens on like all these little I don't know what they're called. Like curling bases. This is, I think, from what I've looked at, once again, my own databases and charts, not back tested or anything, not like official or whatever. I just like that entry, but you have to enter these more aggressively than you generally would afford on a weaker name, right? Like you have to be able to. I mean, it's a really tough skill to explain, but I think most traders will develop it. The more they look at it and the more they experience it. And I think it's a really hard part that most people deal with for struggling, context, right? Like buying shit that looks scary to buy because I mean these stocks, right, are leading the market, leading it. Not literally, but for our world as a swing trader, these stocks are the market. Always and forever they will be. We are not trading blue chip like that's not what's going on. We're trading momentum stocks. They live on their own world, in the same galaxy, but on their own world, and they do what they want, and they communicate with the whole market in a specific way. And it's literally just about when is the market, once again, it's tough to explain greatly, but like when is the market going up, right? If the whole market is gapping up, what is leading it? Something has to lead it, right? Indexes, whether it's large cap indexes or if you're looking at, specific ETFs or, theme ETFs, that shit really doesn't matter because you're trading the shit that works in it, right? There's always going to be a leader. Because there's a leader, there are laggards, and because there are laggards, the market will always have a degree of lag. The weaker the laggier, right? At the very start of it, it's a trickle down waterfall effect. When the whole market is performing well in a bull run, think about how that feels. It feels like a river all flowing in one direction, and you're sitting in a wood boat, and it's just ripping you down the river. You don't have to paddle, you don't have to steer. It's smooth water, and it's just going straight at it, right? That in syncness. I know that's not a word, but it's a trickle down effect, and it starts at the top. You run a company through your employees, but it starts at the top. The decision makers have to set the precedent. The leaders of the company have to determine how the whole system works and how the whole company is going to move. And it takes, you know, 2 days to get that out from the founder, or the CEO, or the president, or whatever. It takes 2 days for them to get it to their CEO or their COO or their advisory board, and then 5 days to get from those guys to their um, individual departments or whatever the fuck they're handling, right? Do you see where I'm getting with this? The other guys, the bottom tier hears the news in like 2 weeks after the precedent has been set. If you wanted to understand how the company worked, you look at the day to day. You look at what all the employees are doing. You look at how they're marketing. You look at how they're, handling their HR. You look at how they're whatever. And then with your observations, you aren't like, why are you, once you've gathered your information, you don't sit there and talk to the scum, the low life, and this is such a heartless like thing. I'm realizing as I say it out loud, but I'm thinking about the stocks here. I don't think the low. I'm gonna stop before this gets worse. The scummy stocks, right? And the less powerful people are in the same category, and they aren't who you talk with once you've finished your report and are going to you go to the execs, you go to the president, you go to the top dog who sets the precedent. It's the same thing in trading. It's the same thing in anything. If you're looking at too broad of a market scope, and this is once again for momentum swing trading, not long-term investing or position trading or day trading. We don't care about the names we own. We care about how much those names go up. Laggards set up the way that they do because they are a result of the market. Leaders set the market. The leaders, it's not a chart setup. It's a strength setup, and it's not plotted, but it's felt when you look at everything. It's about understanding the scope of your job as a trader and understanding that the approach, once again, correct approach, in my opinion, to, an advisor, because even if you don't manage other people's money, you're managing yours. You're a financial advisor as a trader to yourself at the very least. And you should treat that the way you would treat a professional job and give it the same courtesy you would, you know. Know your job, know your role. And the role is to sit there across the desk from, Mr. Market at the stock market enterprises, and he tells you, trader, your job is to shut the fuck up and listen to me, and I'm going to tell you, you know, what I want you to report on or observe. You go, okay. And he sits there and he talks his fucking ear off about random bullshit. He talks about his kids and his dog, and how well he shot playing golf last weekend, and who he's gonna fire next. And you're like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are we talking about right now? And then eventually he's like, all right. And then he starts just he's locked in and talking to you about like the actual duties of the job, and you're like, oh my god, okay, 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 like lock in. This is it. I've been sitting here like observing and just listening, and I'm not really participating in the conversation. I'm tuning in because I don't want him to like ask me something, but I'm not really invested in. I'm not having my own like thoughts back. I'm just like my thoughts consist of, oh, okay, interesting. We got a husky, a birdie. Holy fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then he starts talking about the job, and that's when you lock in. You don't have to do consulting as a profession to like really think about what that feels like, but just think about any time like you have a conversation with people. And when the market switches to a momentum market, that's what that is. Like it's that moment when you realize the conversation is now important and you have to listen. Now you aren't thinking about the dog, you aren't thinking about the golf. Take that shit off your lists. I have a flagged list for shit I want to come back to. Look at your focus list. Make it with intention. You'll stop missing less obvious trades because you will feel the strength breakout. Even if you don't see it. I always like to look at tops of the range. Lots of times the thing I think you'll see on leaders is the bottom half of the pullback doesn't look great. That's because once again they move with the market. Just look at how they recover. The market always wants higher. It's always moving higher. It always wants to go higher. Why do you think these stocks, you think they don't want to go higher? Everything always fucking wants to go higher. It's not a process about it's not a process of learning to like learning higher. It's what isn't lower. God, I don't know if that makes sense. What isn't lower? That's all that is. This isn't a tug of war. It's literally like like bears are like hanging from a rope, pulling. It's going up though. Like shit's always going up. And when it's not, you usually know why, and it usually feels like you know why. And when it's going back up again, it's the same fucking thing. I like to buy leaders at highs and range highs. I think a lot of the times, okay, this might be, let me see. This actually had two pretty clean examples, but I'm trying to think of one that maybe didn't. Eh, this is an awesome stock. Don't get me wrong. But like, I don't know, if you're a traditional like flag breakout swing trader, I think most people would agree with me. This is when you've only studied flags that look like, come on. I think when you only study flags that have like, and this is like the you know, pretty stereotypical one. It's like a this, but I think the what matters on the momentum names is this, the leaders. And leaders shouldn't be dipping too hard, but I mean it's just all relative strength shit, right? Look at how well this recovers. I mean these names look so bad. These names look so bad. Just, and this, I don't know what this, it doesn't fucking matter what this does. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's MU. It doesn't give a fuck what the market thinks. These stocks are screaming at you to respect them. Bought AAOI today on the VWAP reclaim here, and it didn't sweep my stop. But you have to be willing to take. You have to be right. If you have 100 things you're looking at, right? Like, where's the 10? Where's the 20? How are the lows? Are they increasing? Are they decreasing? How are the highs? How's the volume? Is the range contracting? Is it holding up to the rest of the market? How well did it respect the 20? All these little things that even if you don't think about them actively, your body's been ingrained and your brain has been ingrained to think about them. All these little things are spinning through your mind. And the problem with leaders is that they listen to different ones than laggards do, right? The leaders care about one thing, and it's when can I go back up? When can I go back up? Laggards think, when does the leader give me permission to go back up? The leader, the leader's gonna lead. Like, I don't know how much it has to get broken down, but I really just don't think. I think people just trade the most random shit, the most weak shit. And there's a time and a place for that, for sure, in the middle or towards the end of a run. But you have to understand the phase of the market you're going through. Gap entries, range high breaks. I like in sync moves on leaders. It doesn't matter if the charts are the same. I like when light and SanDisk gap on the same day. I like that. You know why? Because the leaders, you have to think about the leaders' charts as strength. You're looking at a strength setup, not a individual stock setup. It doesn't behave the same. It never will. Well, I won't be that concrete on it. Once again, these are all just my observations and interpretations of how I think all this shit works. It's not a binary answer. Everybody has their own opinions. And I choose to share mine, I suppose. These don't need anything other for the noise to stop to go up. And it won't always be SanDisk and light. Won't always be AAOI. That one's a hard one to say out loud. These names will rotate and change, for sure. That I can say for a fact. But, shit always comes back around. Strength is a language, and some stocks, just like people, are fluent in it or they aren't. Think about like English. It's like the trade, or Chinese, like trade languages. Like they are the master language. If you speak fucking, you know, I don't even know what a great example of like a very tiny unspoken language. Like if you spoke like a Native American language, for example, like you can talk with your like community, but you couldn't do like international trade probably, right? I'd have to think that. Like, so if you're participating in the market, why would you bother to learn like, oh my God, once again, that just sounds so like cruel because I think there's nothing wrong with Native American languages, but why would you bother to learn one if you like didn't have a direct connection to the community or you like weren't raised in it? I don't know any languages. I can't be even bothered to learn fucking Spanish because I don't use it because it doesn't benefit me. My roommate speaks fluent Spanish, or my college roommate, not my roommate anymore, but he speaks fluent Spanish because he lives in Mexico and he's dating a Mexican girl. That language is used all day, every day. You have to like understand which language you need to learn. It's the same thing. Some of these stocks speak a language that you want. That is your language. And the other ones speak some different shit. Doesn't matter what it is. Does it matter to you? No. Doesn't matter. Cut all that shit out. Makes no sense. This is such a disaster. This can be an hour long. You're trading leaders much differently. They're harder to get into, especially in recent periods of time. They are the market. And with a choppy market, the stocks are choppy. Stop looking at light and going, here's what you're thinking. Here's what you're thinking when you look at this. You're thinking about the setup. If you draw, trend lines if you're a trend line guy. I'm not, but I'm trying to make a point. If you're looking at like the setup or whatever, you're like, oh no, like this looks choppy. It looks like a you know ascending wedge. Volume isn't drying out. Blah 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 blah. Dude, who gives a fuck? It's always gonna go up, right? Shit's always gonna go up. Gotta speak that money language, baby. Come on. Instead, you're trying to learn fucking Bosnian or some shit. You're just trading them to be in them. Stop being so. Oh, this froze for real. What a joke. I really need this shit to make a point. Jeez. The leader or the leaders, it's a strength setup, right? And all that means is when is it going up? Not if, when. And when the market's bad, that language isn't going to be, widely spoken. It's like if you only speak English, you go to, you're on an African safari, with some locals or whatever, and depending on how like local you want to get, you could probably find like a ton of people that weren't able to speak fluent English if that's your language, right? And if you stay there for 2 weeks, you'd be like losing your mind. You'd be like I feel so like isolated. I don't understand what's going on. Like I feel so alone. Like nobody is speaking my language. And then 2 weeks later, you know, someone passes through and they speak English. And as soon as you hear them speak English, you lock the fuck in and you're like, holy shit, English. And you run over there and you're like, oh my God, you speak English? Right? It's the same fucking thing. That got a little bit out of hand. But like, I believe in detail. Like, all the details intentional. And it's the same thing, right? You just have to suffer out being uncertain. You have to be uncertain. It's so important. You can't chase being always certain. It's never going to work because that's not how the stock market works. There's never always an answer to it. It's just it's literally like a technical embodiment of a human being. You can never fully like, read a human being. You can get really fucking good at it though. You have to be patient. You have to understand your role. You have to look at these when they're breaking trend lines. And I won't lie and say I took this. Wish I did, but earnings was coming up. If you're a risk-based trader, if you used set risk amounts, or if you're a size-based, I mean, that's both of them pretty much. I don't think anyone picks random positions. Doesn't matter if you size off a risk or size. If you do it like each trade, random percent amount, 0.5% of my account. Or if you do the opposite and you're like, all right, risk is going to be between 0 and 0.5 or 0 and 1 or whatever, and I'm going to take 10% positions. Doesn't matter. Either way, you're selective, right? The difference in a full-fledged market opposed to a really tough time to trade like we've seen recently is like just get exposed. Just get exposed. Like once the market starts talking to you and tells you there's shit worth buying, like this is not follow through we've had in a long time, especially across the market. Look at this. Everything's going up. Will it last forever? Who fucking knows? Could gap down tomorrow. It's not your job to know. You just got to listen to the instructions. Market is your boss, bro. It employs you. When your boss sits there and tells you to listen, are you listening to listen? This is assuming you're a good employee, right? Like you should be active listening when your employer or your superior is talking to you. I think it's correct etiquette. You gotta stop thinking to like this is something my mom always said. She's like, you have to stop thinking to respond. When someone else, and my sister did this a lot, for example, and I did too. When someone else is talking to us, we're not sitting there really caring about what they have to say. We're thinking about what we want to say back. My sister and I love to argue. And it was something we did all the time as a kid. My mom always was like, think or listen or whatever. I don't know what the fuck it was. Don't listen to respond or whatever. Same point. Let the market tell you when shit wants to go up, and you have to understand that it's your boss, and you have to respect it, and you have to listen very carefully to how it gives you its specific instructions. And if you take this seriously and you don't want to fuck it up, you have to listen and you have to trust your boss and do the job that you've been told to do, even if you don't believe in the greater purpose. No one cares about that shit. The market doesn't. Oh, halfway done. God, this got to be such a bore. I'll try to make this one a little bit quicker. Holy fuck. I don't know. I think this is pretty good, bro. I think if someone listened to this all the way through and listened to some of the other shit I might have to offer. Sounds like I'm soliciting myself, but I really just think, I don't know. I really just think it's you gotta just lose. You gotta do everything wrong to do it right. Because doing it right makes no sense. No one knows, no one knows how that shit works. Works for us, but it's ridiculous though. It's illogical. It's a money printer. This approach. It's a money printer and it's worked always and will continue to work always. And there's one right way to do it. And it's not the way you think it's going to be. And it never will be. Strength is everything. It's absolutely everything. It determines everything. Everything that exists on the entire spectrum is because of what starts at the top. It doesn't start in the middle. It is not a tug of war. It is a suspended rope with a fucking helium balloon on the top of it or whatever you want to make up. This shit will always and will forever go up. Knock on wood, right? Like, stop worrying so much. Train your gut so that you can trust it. Everything earns trust. Every person you talk with in your real life has to earn and keep your trust. Unless you're a unless your standards are lower than that, but at least for me, trust is pretty important. But I think the stocks are the same way. I enjoy my social life and the people I surround myself with because I trust all of them. I trust that they're going to be there for me. I trust that they're not, doing shit behind my back, that they're not, treating me poorly, that they respect me for who I am and that I respect them for who they are. And I have a great, enjoyable social life because of it. It's the same thing in trading. Everyone's just one big happy family wanting to print you money and go up. Stop being friends with bad people. Stop trading bad stocks. You want the friend that speaks your language, You want like the guy or the girl or whatever else. I'm all inclusive. If any of those people, that's your close friend. It's like when you text them and they're like, "Oh my God, I was just about to text you. You want to get dinner? Like, you want to go, do whatever. You want to go to the mall, you want to go to the bar." And you're like, "Oh my God, I was just thinking that." Like you want those people in your life close to you that are on that wavelength, right? Like it's just basic human nature and everyone sits down in front of TC2000 or TradingView or Thinkorswim or whatever and they just fucking forget how it all works. Look at all my friends texting me at the same time. We all want to go up together. You feel me? So true though. It sounds like a joke, but it's so true. Look at all these guys on my phone. Yeah. I just look at that. It's so fucking pretty. It's because I have 23 names on my watch list. I'm not looking at bullshit. I kind of talked about how leaders are always gonna, lead and determine the behavior of laggards. Maybe I'll do a separate video or a breakdown on that to explain that. But this is kind of the start of the run. This is like the video of like the start of the run prep, right? So it's probably a little bit too late to post it, but like the other video I did or whatever, the first one on my page, I posted before the trade happened. Well, that's not true. I posted the day of it happening, but there were other entries. Like Open had a lot of entries, but I like posted about Open on the day I did it, and this one I'm trolling a little bit, posting it after. But like this was the time to buy, bro, in my opinion. It's just about when is it going up. Stop worrying so much about the whole setup. Look at the more it's up, the less it matters. Everything won't go up forever, right? Like we know that. Shit doesn't go up forever. But it goes up for a long ass time. It goes up for you know if it has fucking if it is like I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if you have like 7 setups on this and each single time you think this is not going up forever, one of them you're going to be right. It won't. But you're scaring yourself out of free fucking money on the way up. Wait until it tells you it's done going up, right? Your leaders go up forever, at least in the equivalent of the trading world. 6 months? 7 months? Like you're not holding these for 10 years. You shouldn't be at least. Like what the fuck? If this was the only stock in the market, like what would you think? And I try to do that for everything on my list. If this stock was the market, what would I think? If I look at shit like this, I think the market's, this is market's ripping. Holy fuck. I don't think indexes have ever been up 65% in 4 sessions. Market's crazy. We're going parabolic. And if you look at like holy fuck, we're in the worst bear run of all time. It's all relative, man. Like Look at this shit. Put your list together of the strongest names, or I think the whole going short philosophy is uh like counterproductive because the market is always going up. I think shorts have a time and place, but I think primarily being a short trader makes no sense. Once again, my opinion. The shit is always going up. Look at the top shit, the shit that leads the up, and just care about it. Like you should not have more than, you know, I think a 20 item focus list of the strongest stocks. I think anything more and you're lowering your standards. Like I have 200 items on my scan and this is a big scan. It's just this is my scan for everything. No specific requirements. It's literally just over the 200, over 6 ADR or whatever, 20 million. I don't even know what the dollar volume, and then just sort by ADR. I go through percent change every day. There's 203 items. I don't think you need more than 100 on your scans. Once again, I keep a broad eye because I feel like it helps me understand, how much of everything is in sync. But leaders lead the laggards, and it's such a small sample size that you're cheating yourself out of your potential by being less selective. Don't get married to something that's going to be, it's going to bitch at you. Or don't marry, a guy who's going to be a bum or a girl who's always going to bitch at bit. You get the point. It's your financial future, man. Why are you taking it any less serious than marriage? This might just be I'll do a separate video topic maybe on this one, these two, because these are more about transitioning into the middle of a run when everything's kind of going. Worry less about theme at the start of runs. Jesus. That's my opinion. Trade the strength. Once you get deep into it, once you're into it, after the first setups, look at theme sync and look at what's working. All these down here. Like, look at how pretty this looks. Probably wasn't 15% trade, but that looks pretty nice. Um, these all kind of move together, right? That's when it matters once you get into, more the guts or the meat of the run. But leaders and strength is the theme at the start of the run. Before it's all trickled down, you know, think about it this way, right? If you have, ooh, this will be a pretty cool analogy, I think, right? If you have like the boss, not going to be at all accurate. If you have like the boss and the COO and the CEO, this would be like the president or the founder, the owner, whatever structure. At the very start of the instructions, right here, look at how like detached this is from everything else. Strength and instructions start in this small cluster, and then it goes out to these guys. And then we'll do like department manager here, because this is how ours is structured. Well, the bottom half of it at least. We have a much more complicated top half of it, but think of these guys as your themes. Accounting is the theme. Um, um, oh shit, this can be a really cool analogy. I really think so. We'll do accounting. We'll do maybe they have a finance or an investment department. We'll do sales and we'll do service. Accounting and finance, their numbers, they're in the back. Accounting has, 4 people, finance has 5. You know, there's a 5-person theme of finance people, a 4-person theme of accounting, and together a 9-person team of we'll just do fiduciary people. Same thing over here. 5 sales guys, 5 service guys. You have sales as a theme, you have service as a theme, and then you have like the client-sided people. So you have the background people and the client-sided people. And this whole theme, like, do you see where this is going? This makes so much sense to me. I hope it does for anyone else watching this. If they've gotten to this point, holy fuck. Um, but where are the orders? Think about like the orders of the stock market are higher. That's the company's objective. The leaders determine when the orders go higher. So when does the CE or when does the president or the founder or the owner, when does the actual whole system start, like really start with a new directive or objective or whatever they're doing? It's when the owner decides it. And the owner can be one stock, it can be multiple stocks. This thing looks like it makes the fucking orders. This is not a bitch, right? Like this thing is speaking its fucking mind and it wants X, Y, and Z done tomorrow, right? This is your CEO or your owner, here's your co-owner, right? Once the orders, which in this case, once again, the orders of the market are always to go up. And this company, which is the market, always wants to go up. So our orders are to go up. The leaders set the order. Then that goes down to the COO, CEO. The CEO does all the client siding, and the COO does all the back end stuff or whatever, if you want a CFO, whatever it is. So now it goes to these guys, right? So then you get maybe some other guys that are, nothing crazy, but you look at this, you're like, oh, you're, you know, you take orders from maybe one guy, like you look important, like you don't have that founder owner like presence or aura or whatever, like, but you got to be up there. Yeah, that's what you think looking at something like this. But do you see like which stocks are giving the other ones the orders? Just think about this like your Chad founder, and think about like this is like your chud accountant making 40K a year who's balding and gets you know no female attention, to try and put it respectfully. But guys, where do you want to be on the hierarchy? Come on. You want to be up the fuck here in the room. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, as the orders trickle down the chain, everything else starts to participate. Slowly, weaker and weaker names get dragged around. And eventually, for a brief moment in time, when the orders have both been given out and before there's a change in orders, and enough time for everything and everybody in the company to hear them, it's just one smooth, imagine these are like arrows. It's like one smooth, like cog just rotating all around. Imagine these are all gears or whatever, and just like a bike chain. Pretty sick, right? And then what happens is if the market is a company that has two orders, it has, go up or don't go up. Who gives a fuck if it's down or chop? This is how it works. And so this guy says go up, these guys get go up, these guys get go up, then eventually, these guys get go up, these guys get go up. Now everyone's going up. And the boss, who's just so indecisive, is like, nah, you know what? Fuck that. It's bomb Iran. Let's go down. And the COO is like, fuck, we're going down, boys. Like, the CEO's like, all right, sock in. Gets to them. He's like, shit. This guy's like, oh my God. It gets to the employees. And so this is the trap. This is the trap. Everything else is dying and going not up. And these guys are, and you're looking at these guys and you're like, oh, go up. You got to figure out what's important, what you want to look at. Does that make sense? It cycles back and forth between those two modes. These poor guys down here are always suffering and struggling. And it's true in society too. This is a struggle position down here, man. Like, it really sucks. No one wants to be this guy. You got to make your way up the chain. The people that you surround yourself in your circle, the friends that you surround yourself with, are a great reflection of who you are as a person. If I meet all of your friends and they're all horrible people, I can generally make a pretty conclusive, well, guess or assumption that you are not a good person. It's the same thing with the stocks you hang out with. You as a trader, your equity curve, your portfolio balance is a reflection, you know, of the language that you're speaking with the market. If you are, speaking to people who have no clue what the fuck is going on, are on the wrong paths, it's so easy when you surround yourself with them to get caught up in that, right? Doesn't matter what the context is. There were great people, that I felt close to during poor periods of my life that as I climbed up the ladder realized were, they weren't holding me back. It's never their fault. They're just enabling bad thinking. That's what it's really about. Just get rid of the bad thinking. The more you sit around it, the more you look at bad stocks, the less you're in sync with what the actual orders are, the less you actually understand what the company is doing as a whole. I think that's about it probably for this one. Hour and 2 minutes.